In talking about the heat output of an infrared heater, it's important to know that the more heat you get from an infrared heater, the less you're going to spend to heat your home. For example, let's say that you live in a 2,000 square foot home. And it depends on where you live in the country. But if your home is insulated really well and it doesn't get below 32 degrees outside and you have the standard 8-foot ceilings, one of these heaters, one of our heaters, will heat the entire house all winter long. And the electric cost, depending on your electric rate and where you live, it's going to be anywhere from $80 to $110. $100 is going to be the average, depending on where you live in the country and who your electric provider is. But about $100 a month in electricity to run one of these heaters 24/7 on high. If you ran it on high 24/7, it'll use about $100 a month worth of electricity. Well, if you want to heat that same 2,000 square feet using one of these infrared heaters, you'd actually need 2 of them. So that means your electric consumption is going to be $200 a month. So we base that on a 5-month period, and so that would be an additional $500 you're spending in electricity to heat your home with these infrared heaters. Or you could say with these here, you're spending an additional $250 in electricity each year if you're using one of these rather than our heater. Our heater is the most efficient infrared heater made. Let's say that you use infrared heat as the only heat source in your home, which is what we recommend. Most people think that infrared heat is just a supplemental heat source. We have oil in our home. We haven't used oil to heat our home in 5 years. If we used oil this year to heat our home, we would have spent over $3,000 in oil to heat our home. But we only spend $1,500 in electricity by heating with this infrared heater. We have 3 of them. Now, our home was built in the 70s, poorly insulated, single pane windows, again, poorly insulated. With oil, it would have cost $3,000 to heat with oil, but only $1,500 in electricity. Our home being 3,000 square feet and poorly insulated, we actually needed 3 of them. But to heat with 3 of them still was half of what we would have spent if we heated with oil. How much does it cost to heat your home with combustion base versus infrared heat? Infrared is the cheapest form of heat there is. No matter what your heat source is currently, infrared is the cheapest form of heat. Normally, heating your home with firewood is the cheapest. If you can buy your firewood for, say, $180 a cord, and that's pretty cheap, infrared is still cheaper than firewood. Now, my family and I, we live in a 3,000 square foot home. We have oil, but we haven't used it in 3 years. If we were still heating with oil, we would have spent over $3,000 this past season to heat our home. But because we heat with infrared, we only spent $1,500, half. Infrared is the cheapest form of heat there is. Let's compare infrared heaters. This is called a space heater, but then you have your combustion-based space heaters, and they're very different. Okay, these space heaters here burn the oxygen and the moisture out of the air, but they also are way more expensive to operate. This one here, for example, uses 1,500 watts of electricity. This one here uses 1,500 watts of electricity. But there's a circular here that I found in the newspaper that is 1,500 watts, much like this little one here. It says it uses 1,500 watts, but heats up to 200 square feet. That means that you would need 10 of these to make as much heat as one of these. That means your electric bill will be 10 times higher. So if you're heating 2,000 square feet, your home is insulated really well, and it doesn't get below 32 degrees outside, you can heat your entire house for the entire year for only $500 with this heater. But if you would heat that same house with this one, it would cost you $5,000 to heat that same house. Another way to look at it is this. Let's say that you have a small bedroom in your home that's only 200 square feet. If you want to heat it with this heater, it will cost you $500 a year in electricity to heat that small bedroom with just this heater. You heat that same small bedroom with this heater, and it will only cost you $50. So rather than $500, only $50. That's $450 cheaper. That much you would save in electricity by heating with this heater rather than that. So now stop and think. You can buy one of these really inexpensive combustion-based space heaters and heat that bedroom for $450 more per year in electricity, or you can spend just a couple $100 and buy the best infrared heater made and save $450 a year. Now, we talked about infrared heat being the cheapest way of heating your home, and it is. But there's a way to save even more money with infrared heat, and that's what we call zone heating. Let's say that you live in a big two-story home. Your children are fully grown and they moved out of the house. Well, with infrared heat, all you need to do is close the bedroom doors that you're not using, and you're saving a lot of money because infrared heat won't go into those rooms. Or maybe you're a single person, or you live alone and you just want to heat what small area you live in. There have been times when people have come into our facility and what they said is, well, what we've done is we put curtains across the hallway, and I live alone, and so therefore I just live in the living room and the kitchen and the bathroom, and that's all that I heat. So they heat all that area with one infrared heater, and they say it costs anywhere from $20 to $50 a month to heat their whole living area in the wintertime. Can you imagine that? $20 to $50 a month to heat your living area throughout the winter. That's really a good way to go, and you can save a lot of money by doing it.